morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. You'll notice here compression out of this market. Big time compression here out of this market. On a Thursday here, we did see some strength late in the day. Friday, digestive day. And of course here heading into Tuesday's market, narrow range price action right now, 26.75 points of range. That's 38% of average right now. This market's been averaging 71 points on a 10-day basis, 62 on a 5-day basis, and we are currently seeing an approach to the all-time highs, the previous quarter's high, and also the previous month's high. All very, very close proximity there. And when we do see a move into that high, are we going to see a push through those highs and extension to the upside, price discovery follow through, or do we see some sort of reaction that brings us back into the range below? Any type of push beyond with a huge rejection here could be a huge indication that we're about to snap back. Again, back toward 59.50, maybe across the range to 5800. This is something we talked about here last time. And of course, the very next day, we got to return right back to 59.50. And that, of course, had headline risk associated to it or with it. And so right now, again, a similar approach coming up right now. Got to see how this market responds in this 6160 to 6200 zone right there. Any push into that zone, you want to see it pushed beyond it and start to see a wave of price discovery if this thing is going to embark on a bullish phase to the upside, because any major rejection, any high range rejection will likely lead to the next rotation back down. Even if it's just a short-term rotation, it could be a swift return. So watching to see how the market responds to the edge. Now from an economic standpoint here this week, of course we have Fed speakers speaking here throughout the week, including on Tuesday, FOMC member Daly at 9:20 a.m. Central. Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Barr speaks at noon Central, and President Trump speaks later on tonight. Throughout the rest of the week, FOMC meeting minutes. You have additional Fed speakers as well, in the initial jobless claims, existing home sales, things of that nature here throughout the rest of the week. So relatively tame week of economic data points. Now looking at the NQ, which you'll notice right here, similar upside push out of that compression. So right here, compression here on a Thursday, push to the upside. Friday, a hold with a bullish bias, and now again heading into the RTH Open, fairly narrow range, just a 35% of ADR range. This market's been averaging 362 points per day on a 10-day. 316 on a 5. Right now we are at 127 points of range with an upside continuation. We have filled the FOMC key level from December 18th and a little bit higher to go until we get the all-time high. 22,450 is that all-time high. Again, like the ES, if we come into this zone and find rejection, that could offer a return back toward yearly VWAP, maybe even lower into recent support around 20,800. So this is going to be very important. Can this market find a way to seek further price discovery to the upside, or do we find some sort of rejection? Looking at crude oil, this one right now up 0.6% at the moment. Still in a very clear downtrending market right here. Any pullback has been sold. We've seen this market struggle back and forth above and below the previous quarter's closing price here, the previous month's low price. It has rejected it, then failed, then tried to reclaim it, failed again. You can see it being defended over the last couple of sessions. Now, I mentioned before that we are clearly in a trading range between 70 and 74 right now as price chops above and below the newly downshifted CVPOC. So right now, price trading above and below that level with a downward bias. A downward bias here that could take us into The next area of support below that next area is 67 and maybe even as low as 66. So I've been mentioning 66 to 67 as the next area of support below, but we could see a little bit more back and forth around CVPOC until we see a continuation downward up ahead. A violation through 70 opens up the downside for crude oil. Looking at gold futures, this one's up 1.1% right now, and another bounce back. Another significant bounce back from the bullish PEMA trigger zone. We had a day one rejection here, a strong heavy sell-off in metals on Friday, and that day one rejection hit copper, gold, it hit platinum, and even silver saw a little bit of rejection as well. A big time meltdown on Friday in metals, but a bounce back day here today. Failed new low and a bounce back to the previous session's midpoint. That previous session's midpoint going to be very important here today. 29.27. Can price find acceptance beyond that level, or is this morning's early strength going to be defended for another rotation down? As of right now, the intraday trend looks very healthy, very bullish, and it continues to flow higher above a rising VWAP. The last retest of VWAP has been perfectly rejected back to the upside. So again, keep an eye on that 29.27 and the ability to find acceptance above there, and you could continue to flow higher. Any failure there and you're rotating back down, but at the moment still showing very bullish signs of strength overall, but beginning to find some significant selling pressure on the upper end of this range. Can we find one more move into 3,000 above? All right, looking at the YM. The YM marginally higher here today, not really following behind the strength of tech, the NQ, or even the ES. This one is building quite a bit of compression here and still has chopping around the break-even point for the month. Now, if you look at the multi-week range here, we have at least 4 weeks of compression here for this market, building tremendous energy for the next breakout move. Can this thing find a way again to break to the upside and push beyond all-time highs here, or is this heaviness at these highs going to lead to another rotation back down within the broader range? Right now 44K big time support, and down below 43, and below that 42, and so this thing's trading kind of in those 1,000-point increments right now, and we're stuck between the next 1,000-point increment above 44 to about 45 right now. So building some energy, not quite showing that strength at the moment, but definitely building up a ton of energy for the next big breakout move up ahead. Looking at Bitcoin, this one is down 1% right now and remains within a super narrow range. We've noted before that this compression right here, that one holds a ton of energy. 13 to 16,000 points of range could be seen out of this compression here once expansion sets in. We're now looking at about 9 days of compression here that's built up. Very unusual to be built up of this magnitude of compression here, especially near the midpoint of that G-squat day. We still have kind of a rounded development that's played out here at these highs, and any failure through 90K could be an indication that this thing is going to flow backward toward 75,000. That's a big level right there. Any retest of 75 could be a long-term entry point for this market, but right now clearly compressed and not really showing an appetite for movement outside of this range. So 95,000 to 100,000, that's been the range. We're seeing a little bit of a bounce off the 95s, which could lead to a little bit more upside here, but until then, trapped within that 5,000 point range with the potential for big time expansion down the road. Likewise, ETH down the same amount right now, 1.2%, only this one showing a bit more rejection at the upper end of the range. That really came during Monday's trade here during the market holiday in the US here. Failed new high in a downtrend off the 2800 level from below. Still stuck in the range overall. That's a narrow compression here of about 200 points. We may be looking at a big time retest of that strong low here up ahead, maybe into 2200, maybe as low as 2100, which is the key range 100% target. The expectation would be any retest of this zone, even as deep as 2100, could be a tremendous buying opportunity for a bounce back try, but clearly this market underperforming against Bitcoin, especially as of December. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out headed into the new week of trading. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.